Support WrestleTalk!
Bryan Danielson is all elite. Adam Cole is all elite. Ruby Soho is all elite. Minoru Suzuki loves being punched in the face. And oh yeah, CM Punk wrestled for the first time in 7 years. By God, All Out 2021 was a pay-per-view where AEW absolutely emptied their pockets of reveals, crowd-popping, pleasing moments, and high-quality matches to keep the Chicago fans and me, and probably you, watching somewhere between a sort of simmer and a screaming, roiling boil of heat for a solid 4 and a bit hours. But what happened on the show? What me think of it? I'll tell you as I review AEW All Out in about 8 minutes. Probably 10 minutes, probably. The buy-in pre-show saw the first wrestling action of the night as the Hardy family office of Matt's Private Party and TH2 took on Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, Orange Cassidy and Jurassic Express. The crowd, who were already hot, went wild for Jurassic Express with hand waves all across the arena for their entrance. Now the match itself was exactly what you want from a 10-man tag, packed with old hands, crowd favourites and young high flyers. Everyone got a chance to get their stuff in, and it was a little bit sloppy in places because there was a lot of people. But ultimately, it was really fun as Jungle Boy tapped out Angelico in the snare trap. Now, post-match, the Butcher returned in the most casual return ever to attack Cassidy and co. and threatened to cut his hair, the source of his Samson-like powers, until Jurassic Express rushed back to the ring with the Varsity Blonde, Silver and 10 from Dark Order, and one of the lads from Top Flight to chase him off. The faces then all hugged in the ring, and Silver did a little thumbs up, which led us into the main show. A little thumbs up, it was about that big, a thumbs up. I've been up for a very long time. Kicking off the main show was Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the TNT Championship. Now Kingston was over like Rover and put up a valiant effort against the more powerful Miro, who dominated a good portion of the match through sheer brute force, even cradling Kingston like a baby at one point before slamming his back into the ring post and just being like, I don't want this baby no more. But then, Eddie finds out that Miro is susceptible to neck-based offense and he hits loads of chops to the neck and a DDT, but the ref, he's too busy trying to put the pad back on the turnbuckle. He's so concerned about it that he even dives in the way to stop Miro being whipped into the exposed steel, which then gives the Bulgarian the opportunity to mule kick Kingston in the twin eddies. Then a huge sprinting matchka kick finishes things up. As a show opener, it was perfect. Both men held the crowd in the palms of their hands throughout. Kingston looked like a scrappy, no-quit brawler. Miro looked like a monster brought to the brink and sinking low to eke out the win. Good stuff. Next up, the newly minted GCW champion Jon Moxley took on Satoshi Kojima. Now this was a real clash of styles as the swaggering savage Moxley refused to take the admittedly very funny Kojima seriously, which gave Koji plenty of near misses with his devastating lariat. And that was the threat that was hyped up throughout the match, with one brilliant moment where Mox tried a running clothesline of his own, but Koji just sort of stuck out his right arm, and that caused Mox to bounce off because his arm is that damn strong. And if you dodged the lariat though, caught Satoshi in a paradigm shift, and then a second one put him away for good. And then, as Mox is celebrating, Kaze ni Nare hits, and out walks Minoru Suzuki. Him and Mox face off in the ring. They start hitting each other and laughing because they're sound of mind individuals. And then Suzuki catches him in a rear naked choke and the Gotch pile driver to stand tall. That match is then set for Jon Moxley's homecoming in Cincinnati on Wednesday. Yes, bloody please. Yes, Queen. No one ever said yes, Queen about Minoru Suzuki. Following on from that was Britt Baker versus Kris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Here we had the resourceful heel champion against the plucky, really quite strong babyface Statlander, who caught the DMD taunt at one point and forced a boop. And there were a couple of times during the match that Kris was just strong and she tossed Britt around the ring, earning some "This is awesome" chants. I think the first ones of the night. And that was until a missed pendulum moonsault let Britt hit the stomp off the steps outside, which caused Orange Cassidy's heart to actually beat a bit, and he shouted at Kris to get into the ring, which weirdly was kind of a heartwarming, interesting moment. And it felt a lot of good it did it though, because it was a Pittsburgh Sunrise for a close 2, then straight into a stomp for another 2, and the lockjaw locked things up. This was really good. Should feature more women more often at AEW. Backstage, Andrade El Idolo says he didn't tamper with Pac's flights. Chavo's face says otherwise, and that match is set for Rampage on Friday. Then came quite easily the match of the night as the Young Bucks defended their AEW Tag Team Championships against the Lucha Bros inside a steel cage. Hello, Terry. Terry's also been up watching AEW. Haven't you, Terry? And as you would expect from these two teams, they consistently came up with inventive aerial destruction using every inch of the cage to great effect. I mean, Ray was on top of the thing before the Lucha's entrance was even over. And the Lucha Bros were obvious crowd favourites with their big babyface flip-de-doos, while the Bucks were awesome heels with their conniving heel-based flip-de-doos. And like mask-pulling, low blows, and resurrecting the thumbtack-covered Nike sneaker spot to get the blood pouring on both Penta and Ray. There was even this weird Mexican superkick standoff that was really fun and really good. And the crowd almost lost their minds when Ray broke up a pin in the very, very last second after being laid out with a super kick, and Penta ate a BTE trigger. After the Luchas fired back, Phoenix climbed the cage, hitting a huge crossbody onto the pile, and then an assisted pile driver scored them the win. New champions, baby. I absolutely loved this match. I absolutely loved it, and I popped huge for the Luchas winning. It was a great moment at the exact right point of the show. Though obviously I did feel bad for the Women's Casino Battle Royal having to follow that, even if it did feature 4 separate teases for Bryan Danielson. And it was slow. There were lots of rest holds. I think the style of introducing a whole pack of people at once takes away from what makes sort of the Rumble great, for instance, where every entrance gets their cheer and a chance to do some spots, giving the whole thing a structure that runs throughout. This just felt like 5 people turned up and they didn't really know what to do. And it also felt like a lot of random eliminations without much drama, aside from the confusion around Riho definitely not being eliminated as she went under the ropes to the outside, but then just left the match anyway after Justin Roberts incorrectly announced her elimination. But things picked up as the Joker hit the ring and was revealed to be Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott, who got a huge ovation from the Chicago crowd. I love that. It got down to Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, and Ruby Soho, with Thunder getting a huge elimination on Nyla after a low bridge dropkick combo. And then Ruby and Rosa faced off, which was just enough of a tease of how good that match could be. And after a Gamangiri on the apron, Thunder Rosa falls and Ruby wins her debut AEW match, earning herself a women's title shot in the process. And I think that, and the reaction to it, made up for some of the odd pacing throughout the match. We then got Jericho versus MJF with Jericho's career on the line, but not before a countdown played and hyped the crowd for Bryan. But it was obviously MJF just being a tool. Good prank, dickhead. Jericho also entered, accompanied by Billy Gray of Fozzy, and it sounded really rough. The guitar was way too hot and all blown out and distorted and weird, and I didn't like it. The match itself was good, though. This was a trade in injuries angle throughout, as MJF worked the injured arm of Jericho, but also struggled with his own back problems after taking a nasty pop-up powerbomb on the apron. MJF sold this to perfection as well, losing out on the victory a couple of times because he couldn't make the cover. Hager then ran off Wardlow as the twin Hoss Energy sort of counted each other out, but that was distracting enough to give MJF a chance to nail Kris with a bat and a Judas effect. Aubrey calls the finish, but Jericho's foot was on the rope at 3. Slightly after 3. It was definitely there slightly after 3, but the match restarts anyway, and the walls of Jericho to the injured back seals things up, and Kris celebrates with the Inner Circle. As kind of the most story-driven of the matches so far, this was certainly slower, but built up to a really satisfying ending. Though I do think the restart felt a bit unnecessary. You could have just pointed to the foot and gone, okay, that's cool. Then it was in fact clobbering time, because CM Punk took on Darby Allin, and honestly, it was so good to see CM Punk back in a wrestling ring after 7 years, and to be fair, it was like he never even, tights. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And if you thought Jericho versus MJF was slow going early doors, wait until you watch Punk after 7 years hit his first big move, the collar and elbow tie-up. I kid, of course, because this was all about Punk visibly shaking off the ring rust throughout the match and adjusting to Darby's unorthodox style, and slowly becoming the wrestler he once was. You can tell the ring rust was part of the story because he even hits an early GTS, but he loses Darby through the ropes. And to be honest, this match over-delivered, because people would have been happy to have like a 5-minute brawl into a GTS. Good to have you back, CM Punk. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. You've made me interested in wrestling again. Instead, Darby bumped up a storm and Punk was on really good CM Punk being a bit silly in the ring form. He even dodged a coffin drop by he just sat up out of the way. So Punk eventually hits a second GTS after countering a Poison Rana to pick up the 3 count, and he shakes hands with Sting, who pops down to the ring to ask Darby, "Are you winning, son?" And then he shakes hands with Darby as well. Putting over the young talent with Punk is a great idea. Long may it continue. Then, as a palate cleanse, we got Paul Wight versus QT Marshall, which saw Paul be tall and fight off the entire factory, catching QT off the turnbuckle in a chokeslam for the 3. It was weird to have this on the show and so late in the show, but it was obvious that the crowd needed a break, and this provided that, because even after promos from Mox and Malachi Black, who told Dustin Rhodes that it's time to pay the boatman's toll, whatever that means, get your eye fixed, Malachi, the crowd still weren't fully recovered from Punk leading into the main event. Maybe this was because they were a little bit miffed about Hangman Page missing out on this main event spot, as a little ripple of disapproval that Christian Cage seemed to suggest. But ultimately, this was great, and it won them back by the end. Because Kenny was on form as the cocksure heel, even stomping a table to death over the top of Christian. Meanwhile, commentary played up Cage's history of neck injury as he ate snapdragons and V-triggers aplenty, but plucky Christian fought back and fought off Gallows and Anderson, but Don Callis was the one to cause the final distraction in the ring, which helped Kenny recover. He then gouged the eyes as Cage set up for an avalanche kill switch to hit his own avalanche one-winged angel, and you super duper don't kick out of one of those. Then the entire Super Elite appears to celebrate with Kenny and beat on Cage, which brings out Jurassic Express to try and save, to no real avail. Kenny then grabs the mic and says, "You see, the only people who could beat me aren't here, or they're already retired, or they're already dead." Out comes the ghost of Adam Cole, baby. He walks down to the ring, gets in the face of the Super Elite, and then super kicks Jungle Boy, siding with the people who conspired to kill him. Oh, Adam. Oh, Adam. Then, with Adam Cole as part of the Super Elite, Kenny starts to say goodbye, and a remixed version of Flight of the Valkyries plays, and out walks Bryan Danielson to huge yes chants. He rushes down to the ring, he sides with Christian and Jurassic Express against Omega, Cole and the Bucks, which is a blood and guts match that I really want to see. He nails double speed yes kicks and a huge running knee to close the show. And I cannot believe they bloody did it, guys. They did all of your big reveals in one night. Two of them in one twisting, turning, swerving moment that genuinely made me, a jaded hack, quite excited about the future of wrestling. And a lot of people have been saying this on Twitter, but this show, and specifically the end, felt like a kind of dawn of a new era in wrestling. AEW has revealed its hand and has one of the all-time wrestling rosters right now, and the sheer possible combinations of people to put on great matches is astounding, and they have the goodwill with the fans to know that they'll do it as well. Top to bottom, All Out was a lot of fun. Nothing truly outstayed its welcome, and every surprise/moment was masterfully executed and perfectly timed to keep the audience molten hot for as long as possible. It's 5 stars from me.
Bryan Danielson to AEW confirmed. He's Daniel Bryan for all you WWE fans. Ruby Soho to AEW confirmed. Adam Cole, baby, to AEW confirmed. Oh, and Minoru Suzuki to AEW confirmed. Oh my god,